And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the High Low Sports Podcast. We appreciate y'all for joining us here on this Wednesday evening. If there's one of your favorite places to check out podcasts later on in the week, it's got to be May. It is officially May flowers after April showers, whatever saying you like. But we are heading into spring and the deep part of the NBA playoffs, among many other things. It is DJ, joined as always by my co-host Kelcey. As we're finally out of NFL draft season, we finally get to talk about some other sports and some other things going on. We finally wrapped up that big old behemoth that is the month of April when it comes to the NFL draft.
Yeah, the draft was fun, but now it's crunch time for NBA. We're in that good stretch of baseball where we're getting into the May, which is when all the slumps start to go away, the guys start to wake up, the bats get hot, and by the way, WNBA is coming back very shortly. Can't wait for that. And MLS. Then we got all the summer tournaments for soccer. So there's a lot of stuff coming up here soon. But yeah, no, this has been a fun month of April, long month of April, and ready to get May started.
Absolutely, I'm excited for it too. We are going to talk a little football. We're going to talk some fisticuffs. We're going to talk a whole lot of basketball because we got a lot of stuff to make up for that we haven't got a chance to talk about. But it's going to be a good way to kind of lead us into our first segment where we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking a little bit of football and some different ways. But we're going to go ahead and jump in the tip-off. Brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code BEVSports for $20 off your first set of tickets. Sporting events, concerts, comedy shows. If it needs tickets, use code BEVSports for $20 off your first purchase. And yeah, let's just go right into it. George Pickens, the crash out king himself, he's heading to Dallas as Dallas picks up a new receiver, Pickens up a new receiver in Dallas to join CeeDee Lamb. Basically, without getting too deep into the nitty-gritty details, a third-round pick for George Pickens. So, as the one-time Cowboys fan, but still current free agent, which, by the way, if you want Kelcey to join your team fandom, be sure to send us your courting Kelcey video why you should join your team. But, Kelcey, how do we feel about this? George Pickens coming in a contract here, heading to Dallas to be the number 2 to CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott, who, for all intents and purposes, though, an upgrade over what we saw last year in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than what's in Dallas right now as a number 2, but there's so many questions for Dallas. I guess this is probably the most Jerry Jones thing to do, though, right? Like a receiver who you don't know what he's going to do, who can't keep his attitude in check. He's going to come to Dallas, and you're going to hope and pray that he turns out like T.O. That's what you're hoping, right? But he's not coming to Dallas as a number 1. He's coming to Dallas as a surefire number 2. There's no number 1 question about this. It is just what it is. I don't know how Pickens is going to enjoy this. He's a very, I don't want to say immature, but maybe not the most mature individuals out there on the field. He loves to suplex guys, drop those shoulder bombs, and if he can open a can, he would on somebody. But that gets you a penalty nowadays in the NFL. So I don't know what how this is gonna go. I stand by what I said in the draft. Why does Dallas wait until I'm no longer a fan to get good in the draft and then start making moves in free agency? Maybe it's because I was waiting. I don't know. But yeah, no, I think this is a very interesting one. I needless to say, I was shocked when I woke up to this one. I don't think there's any question about it.
George Pickens is always very interesting to me because at any given moment, he could be the most underrated player in the NFL while also being the absolute worst player on the field at any given moment of time, just depending on what song is playing in his head that leads the way, basically. Sometimes it's a crash out thing, he's losing his mind. Other times he's making those one-handed catches lateral while parallel with the ground. He could do a little bit of everything for better and for worse. I will say this is exactly why the Cowboys let Jordan Lewis go to Jacksonville. This is why they did not bring him back, because those practices would basically be a relentless assault. We saw what happened when those two teams played last year on Sunday night. I actually, if you get George Pickens not fighting everything in sight, suplexing, flying drop kicks, whatever he's going to do when he's not losing his mind, I think this is an outstanding fit as well, because he's a big body, get the ball down the field one-on-one, put him at X, let him just, for lack of better terms, considering the person we're talking about, just let him fight the corners on the outside, just preferably not literally, but fight off the jams, win those. Then you move CeeDee around, let him play Z, slot, let him just be your everything receiver. Then they leave Pickens one-on-one. Dak can, for all the hate Dak gets, he could throw a good one-on-one ball, back shoulder fade. He will get George the ball in opportunities. And I think in theory it makes so much sense, but there is still there's a reason the Steelers got rid of him. They have a knack for getting rid of the chaos receivers at the exact right time. Antonio Brown, Martavius Bryant, Santonio Holmes.
You could say that about players in general. Like chaos players.
Yeah, just in general. So that's what I'm curious. And it's a contract year, so there's always that. How does it feel like, say, he has 2 bad weeks? Does he freak out and suplex Dak? I don't know. We'll see. But on paper, I really like the move because of the scheme fit. The question is always, well, there's a reason he was made for trade. That's what I'm really that will be curious about.
And better yet, there's a reason that it was Mike Tomlin pushing him out and not Art or Omar Khan, Art Rooney, by the way, or Omar Khan. That was the guys that pushed him out. It was Mike Tomlin from all the reports. Everybody, Dallas and Pittsburgh reporters are saying the same thing. And that's the crazy thing. So that's where you're like, hold up, Mike Tomlin, the guy who is the Joes and Schmoes coach who loves the players, was like, I can't save this kid. Bye.
You know what? I'm going to also throw a nice heaping pile of blame on Arthur Smith, because any receiver playing that offense, I don't blame them. Like, I'd probably crash out as much as they did too. I can't fully blame them there, but this is going to be a fun one to watch. You know what? I think it's a good move for Dallas, because worst case scenario is, you threw away a 3rd round pick. That kind of stinks. But if you get what he's done the last couple of years as your number 2, you know what? Maybe not too bad. If he just has a couple of good games that make CD's life a little bit easier, and the rest of them can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing, is you just need Dak to play the whole season. Then you're automatically a much better team than we saw last year. It's the Dallas MO. You're awesome for a year or two, then you have to have a dump year. You draft into your offensive lineman, then you're back up. That's been their motto the last few years. They got, like, when they got Tyler Smith a couple of years ago. Now you got in another Tyler, they're back up. So I think it's a good move for the Cowboys. Especially with all the money you gave Dak, give him an extra target, and hopefully they can figure out everything else in between. But I'm excited for it. And you know what? My biggest question with Pickens is, he's got to make sure his mind is right. Because if his mind is right, this will be right. But he's got to get that mind clear first.
Yeah, hopefully he picks up that focus, that energy. But if he does need anything, we got the special thing for him. Our good friends at Magic Mind. If you guys haven't heard about Magic Mind yet, check it out. It definitely helped me focus more. Obviously, we talked about this before. My midday clarity is through the roof now. And I know George Pickens, we just talked about him wanting to lose focus and suplex people. I feel like George could easily use some Magic Mind. And if he needs it, he can head on over to magicmind.com. Use the code HLS20 at checkout for 48% off his first subscription, or 20% off one-time purchases. Why not? Get your 100% of vitamin C and vitamin D in one bottle. Seems like a great idea to me, really.
I mean, it'll help your sense of calmness. It'll lift your mood, and it won't hurt your energy bank, we'll know at that point. If he's suplexing someone, they deserve it. It's not just a momentary lapse. It's a well-earned suplex. So definitely check out the link in the description and go use the code HLS20 for checkout at Magic Mind. But we're in transition now from one sport that does a lot of damage to your head to another. We're going to talk UFC 315. Start up this weekend, the UFC pay-per-view run starting to pick in. So we're going to go through the main card and make some picks, predictions, bets, etc. We're going to start out of the gate. Benoit Saint Denis taking on Kyle Prepolek. We're going to start with the odds of minus 1150 for Benoit Saint Denis, which is absolutely, anyone who's bet before, they know the exact asinineness of that. Saint Denis, obviously an incredible run to start his career, was actually a favorite over Dustin Poirier not even 1,000 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Had a little bit of a tumble since then. That being said, the former Ranger who has literally killed people for the French army, I'm going to say he is going to find a way to win, and I think he's going to do it convincingly. Kyle Prepolek, not quite built for this one, a much older fighter too. But Saint Denis wins this one comfortably. If you want to take a bet, take a bet on him just to win by finish if you can find it. We're going to take Saint Denis to jerk the curtain for the pay-per-view. We'll move right on up now. We have the women taking charge, and a surprising one is Alexa Grasso takes on Natalia Silva. Grasso is the number 1 ranked contender in that division. She is a plus 210 underdog, which is very surprising. That's in part because Natalia Silva is the real deal. She's an absolute killer. She is awesome. The winner of this one almost assuredly is getting a title fight. Silva's a surprising favorite. I think she has a very good chance to win. She has more ways to win, but we're going to take Alexa Grasso. We're leaning on experience there, a lot of time in the octagon. I think the high-level experience she has faced is how I want to word that. I'm trying to find the exact words, but she has experience at the highest level where I think she will weather some of that storm that Silva can bring. I think she will eke out a close decision. If we're looking for a bet for this one, take it to go to decision. I don't think it's not going to end in a finish. I don't think. Take this one to go the full 3 rounds.
That's significant striking percentage or rate for her. The 5.19 compared to the 4.19 for the number 1 contender. That's a shocking difference for somebody. If I'm looking at that, that's why I'm betting the other way. But I think that's a crazy stat there. I mean, Grasso will be having less significant strikes per minute. That's wild.
Absolutely. Part of that thing too is she's a little more grapple centric, so she gets a fewer opportunities, and some of that competition she has faced will not let her hit them. They are much better at not getting struck, but most definitely, if once Silva gets going, you see 5 significant strikes per minute. That's once she gets rolling, it could be a little bit of like that boulder from Indiana Jones. Like once you let her get going, you're going to be running. It's going to be painful, but let's go ahead and climb right on it now to the feature fight. The legend himself, Jose Aldo, back in the octagon. Take on Ayman Zahabi. Yes, that is Zahabi. You did hear that correctly. That is brother of former GSP head coach Firas Zahabi. 37 years old, fighting at the bantamweight division. Jose Aldo is a big favorite at minus 210 to plus 175. We're going to keep this one around. By the way, you talked about significant strikes per minute. Yeah. You see Aldo, who is known for basically just kind of hanging out and cruising in a lot of those title fights. You see very low strikes per minute. But also, once he gets rolling, good luck everybody else. Like once he starts swinging them. This one, we're not even going to sugarcoat this one. Take Aldo, take him to win by finish too. The guys that have beat Aldo in recent years, guys like Merab holding him against the cage, Batista holding him against the cage and should have lost. Merab especially is an absolute machine who does not stop, shot like 20 takedowns. Piotr Jan, an absolute killer who can mix it up. People who are physically strong, like that actually can impose their strength on him, impose their physicality. That's not Zahabi. Zahabi's doesn't have that physical presence. I mean, Aldo was only 5'7", but he looks thick. He is built. He is going to be the bigger man. He's going to be the quote-unquote bully in there. He's got the length. He's still got the speed. He could take the fight to the ground if he wants to as well. He has basically every advantage going his way. So take Jose Aldo to win. Take him to win by finish too. This is the type of fight where I think we see him really crank it up a notch. There's not going to be a whole lot to worry him. There's not going to be anything where he has to fight defensively. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go kill this guy. I think this will be a push forward Jose Aldo fight. Let's cruise ourselves now into one of 2 title fights. Valentina Shevchenko taking on Manon Fiorot. The surprising part here is once again that we have the favorite, quote unquote, the higher ranked one as the underdog, Valentina Shevchenko, plus 115, Fiorot minus 135. We're going to keep this one also relatively simple. I know we're looking at 6 strikes per minute too. That's going to be a reoccurring factor.
100% already am. Like I looked at that and I'm like, well, I know why they have her as the favorite.
Exactly. Part of that is because Shevchenko, a lot like Aldo, she will just sit there like this and basically intimidate you, throw one strike, and back you up for a minute. Like she will be very low volume at moments. And in her last couple of fights, she has basically held people, just grab them and held them down. She has been a wet blanket, which will lower the strikes per minute for sure. What I will say in this one is we are still going to take Shevchenko. I know she's getting older. Look at the age difference, not a huge age difference. I think the experience plays a factor here. And Shevchenko's game is one of those where I think as she gets older, it's not going to just randomly snap and be gone. I think she's going to continue to age relatively gracefully with how well balanced it is and the way she could really mix up the fight. Her accuracy too. Look at the accuracy, 70% accuracy. She doesn't throw a lot, but when she does, it's going to land. She's not fighting air very often. It's not 7 air strikes to 1 landed strike. She's going to land. 64% on takedown accuracy is incredible too. So when she does shoot, she times it perfectly. I'll take the bet for, I think it's 3.5 rounds or 4.5 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Just take the over on this one. It's going to go decision. I think Shevchenko is going to wet blanket her, going to pick her apart. I don't think it's going to end inside. It's either 3.5 or 4.5 rounds. If it's 3.5, hammer that right now. Don't let it hit 4.5. If it is 4.5, still probably take it. I think it's a longer going fight. Or if you really like that, which I do, that plus odds for Shevchenko, just take that one too. So that's where we're leaning for that one. And now we're going to go into the main event featuring Bilal, wants you to remember the name, but nobody cares, Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. The story of this one is basically, will Jack Della Maddalena be able to stop Bilal's takedowns? Bilal has not fought in over a year after winning the title. Probably the least liked champion of them all on top of it. An older fighter, a wet blanket when he gets there, a very boring to watch wet blanket. What sucks for him too is he doesn't have a lot of push behind him because very unlikable. And his best win was just a lot of the steam was taken out because his second best win absolutely brutalized his first best win in a more impressive fashion. So right now the resume is not as strong there. Jack Della Maddalena, incredible boxing on the feet, mixes it up very well, pushes forward, which a lot of strikers that Bilal has had a lot of success against, Leon Edwards, etc. They don't push forward. They basically wait and try and land a perfect shot. Jack will sprawl. He'll stop a takedown. He'll get out of the clinch. Then he'll start swinging fists. I think that'll be the difference. Is he won't let Bilal just be a nonstop freight train. He will actually strike back. He will call him the Empire. He will strike back. Very, very good. Takedown defense is relatively solid as well. Doesn't shoot a lot himself. He does switch stances very incredibly well, a little bit longer reach. It's tough. We're going to take Jack Della Maddalena. I like the underdog feel here. I think that time off for Muhammad is going to hurt him a little bit too. And there's something about it where I think if Jack wins, we're going to see him in a super fight with Islam Makhachev. And I just kind of want to see that. So I'm going to speak a little bit of that into existence as well. If we're going to take the bets on this one, I think the over-under is set at, I'd have to check what the over-under rounds is set at, but I'd probably lean towards the over unless it's 4.5, then go under. But I think if it's 1.5 or 2.5, go and take the over. I think it'll go a little bit longer. But my favorite is I'm still just going to take the Jack Della Maddalena money line. I think it's close enough. I think they're close enough where I'm going to take the plus odds there where it's plus 155. I really think that time off is going to end up hurting Bilal too. Like that's a lot of time off that he has not fought for a guy. And he had a lot of time off before that. He has been very inactive the last few years. Some of it just dumb luck with injury. Some of it tomfoolery. And I know you're looking at significant strikes per minute. I know that's your stat of the day. Jack Della Maddalena, when he goes, he goes.
It's the accuracy with him too.
Exactly. Like he is a true boxer in every sense of the word. Those hands are lethal, which I think is going to be a difference is he is very good with the hands. Where Leon Edwards is good with the hands, but stronger with the legs. You can't really use those against someone like Bilal, who's going to almost blindly shoot takedowns and grab you. I think Jack's ability to, in close, you get in the clinch, he gets a little space, he's going to start ripping the hands. So we're going to take Jack Della Maddalena. We're going to take the money line, but I also would expect it over 3.5. We're going to go over 2.5 rounds for sure. If it's 4.5, I'm not touching that one because I think Jack might have to get a stoppage, but we're going to take over 2.5.
I can't help but look at that takedown average for Bilal as well. Like that is crazy. 2.2 takedown average. Like I know the accuracy could be better, but like, come on, that's
he is a raging bull. He will keep charging them. Like he will keep attempting for better or for worse. He will keep going.
That is like with that mixed with Jack's significant strikes, you almost look at that as like this is a bait waiting to happen where you feel like Bilal is going to go for a takedown and just get smashed with one in the face. Like that's what this looks like.
I will say too, if he goes for a takedown, say they end up in a sprawl position, a clinch against the cage, they separate, especially if Jack has his back to the center, he could tee off a lot of shots in a short amount of time. Like he can throw a quick 3-piece combo with Bilal against the cage as soon as they separate. If he gets in a sprawl position, he can land some really good shots. There have been other fights where you worry, all right, well, he's been swarmed and taken down easily before. Bilal's incredibly good at that, and he's much better on the feet than some of those guys. I just really think Jack's hands and his speed and his unorthodox and his ability to switch stances is going to make a big difference. When you can switch stances, it can be harder to take down because you're shooting for a leg. Well, it's a different leg out in front, which changes the angles. There's a lot of different things to it. We're going to take Jack. We're going to stick with it. So just recapping from the top to the bottom. Jack Della Maddalena, we're going to take the money line. Valentina Shevchenko, we're going to take the money line. Jose Aldo, we are going to take to win via finish. We're going to take Alexa Grasso to win, but we're going to take the over rounds. I believe it is 2.5. And then Benit St. Denis, we're just going to take him to win by finish. If you can find just win by finish, that is ideal. If not, take it by TKO because he's not going to submit him. That's not his game whatsoever. But I think we're going to win some money this week. I'm feeling pretty good about these. 314 was our worst one yet, and we got 3 out of 5. Like we're on a pretty good streak so far for UFC bets this year. So I'm feeling pretty good about this one.
I'd say it sounds like you got your magic mind ready to go when you made these picks is what I hear.
What I'm saying is that in a game where you're going to get hit in the head a lot, you need to make sure that your mind is right. Like fighters, like all of us, there is a lot of different distractions going on in the world. It can be very hard to focus. We are very stressed trying to be a high performer. It harms us mentally, physically, emotionally, everything you can imagine in between, which is why I think Magic Mind could be a good benefit. It's like a mental performance shot. Helps your daily routine, gets you focused, clear, productive, motivated, limits your stress, which we all know what stress can do. I mean, just look at my hair. That is the result of stress. I think it's very safe. Doctor tested across the board. Doesn't replace your morning cup of coffee. It could just enhance it. Doctor validated. 5 cents for each bottle to mental health charities that help U.S. and also help U.S. homeless communities, and 100% carbon neutral. So if that is your thing, they're very much there to help. No risk. They will refund 100%, no questions asked, for 100 days after buying. So it's available in 65 countries. So use code HLS20 at checkout for $20 off your one-time purchase or up to 48% off a subscription if you really like the way it feels. So get your mind right with Magic Mind. I think you can't miss it. Definitely check out that link in the description.
Yeah, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month for those that need that reminder. If you don't already keep up with it, as a person who's struggles with his own mental health, Magic Mind has helped me with that, obviously, and their contributions to mental health groups, that is even better. It's all the more reason why I love working with them. So shout out Magic Mind for that. As always, May, Mental Health Awareness Month, and don't forget September, Suicide Prevention Month. So guys, just keep that in mind. Reach out to your friends if you need to.
Absolutely. And one thing that we're not going to mind is not seeing the Los Angeles teams play much in the NBA playoffs for this Swizz. That will transition us now into the main event, where for the main event, we are heading to the hardwood. We are talking basketball, and because we've been in NFL draft season, we haven't had a lot of chances to kind of talk about what's gone on in the first round. So we're going to just cruise through this one, and we're going to take the low-hanging fruit. The Lakers and the Clippers both bounced out in the first round. Arguably two teams that could have made a real NBA Finals run coming in. Looking at them on paper, they look like they were poised to make some noise, and well, the noise was kind of just closing the door behind them on the way out. So I'm going to ask you, we're going to do a two-part here. One, which one was more surprising? Not just like who lost, but how they lost. And two, what happens next year? Because for both of these teams, which we can get into shortly, but they're both kind of in a weird spot heading into this offseason.
I honestly look at the Clippers as the more surprising, just because of the way they went out, more so than anything else. Going 7 games and then having a complete egg laid by James Harden. And I heard a completely wild stat about him. He has 55 playoff games where he has scored 5 buckets or less in his career. The most all time, which is a wild thought when you consider, like, the most all time for a numbered 1 or 2 player on his team. That's a wild thought when you consider how good of a player he is. Now, when you think, okay, a few of those came when he was with OKC as the 6th man, but even then, like, he was still the 6th man coming off the bench scoring 15 to 20. Like, hold on now. That was just a fizzle, a pop and fizzle, if you will, for this series. Like, they popped early in this series, and then it was just like, okay, now what? They didn't know. They couldn't figure it out. And the Nuggets, despite all that, kept them around. And I do mean that. I don't mean like the Clippers played themselves into a 7th game. Like the Nuggets felt like they were just toying with the Clippers at times. It just didn't feel like the Clippers really ever had a real grasp on the series. The Lakers, on the other hand, like they had zero grasp on anything. Especially Luka going out with his back injury late in that series. That was like a quick, easy, all right, well, they're done. It felt like they were riding the high of getting Luka through the end of the season, and that kept them afloat. And then it was just like, all right, the Timberwolves are here. They're coming to play. Good luck. Good luck, everybody else. Like, I don't know how else to say that. When you can't stop Rudy Gobert, we talked about this going into it. Like, Rudy Gobert is kind of an X factor there. Naz Reid, potentially an X factor. Dante DiVincenzo have X factor. All 3 of them outperformed a lot of the Lakers players that were matched up against them. You're never going to win when the Timberwolves are doing that, because you already know Ant's going to get his. And he did get his, and in spades. So for me, the more surprising is definitely the Clippers. The Lakers, I mean, reverse what Uncle Shannon said, is the best thing I can say. It's not Lakers in 5, that's for sure.
Well, his Lakers eliminated in 5, I guess. So
yeah.
We just forgot an ouch.
I think he forgot a word, probably, is what it is.
I will say with the Clippers, what really stinks for them is they were 1 second and an Aaron Gordon dunk in, I think it was game 4 or 5 away from winning the series. All they had to do was basically box him out a little bit further and not have James Harden between Aaron Gordon and the basket on a Jokic miss for what turned into an alley-oop. Take that away, they might win the series, and an incredible matchup throughout until that game 7 when the Nuggets just completely brought the house down on them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Lakers now, because not only that they lost in 5 as the 3 seed to the 6 seed, but like you got like Rudy Gobert looked like Hakeem Olajuwon, or like what people say Wilt Chamberlain was, but we have no video proof of that 100-point game whatsoever. That's what I imagine it looked probably something like that. Ant took that game off basically. That was a miserable game for him in that final game. That would have been the game for you to do it. You had leads going into the 4th quarter all the time, and then you just ran out of gas. Your best player, they hunted him. I know the back injury later in the series came into it, but even before that, like they were like parking cone attack. Yeah. Like the American food has been the worst thing to happen to Luka Doncic. So compared like rookie year when he was flying all over the place to now, you got to be able to find a way you don't have to be an elite defender. You just can't be that rough. Like they could And Edwards was the best player on the court, and he was arguably he was the best perimeter defender in certain scenarios too. He was not only guarding them, he was attacking them. LeBron's 50, so like the statute of limitations you can expect is not very high, obviously. I think the whole Jackson Hayes thing was weird. Like I get there were limitations with him, but like at some point in that final game when Rudy Gobert has 400 rebounds, maybe just put somebody in to see if his afro gets in the way so somebody else gets a rebound besides Gobert. Just something with a little bit of, it was a very awkward, almost stubbornness. That's whatever happens with them at the Lakers in the offseason, whether Luka resigns, whether LeBron goes elsewhere, whatever it is, they need somebody over 6'10" on the team. Daniil Gafford would have been perfect on this team. They should have tried to get him in that trade. Luka already knows how to throw lobs to him. That'd have been a perfect fit. Just somebody who can actually play center, like, or even power forward. They didn't even really have that going for him. It was the power forward is Rui Hachimura, who's really a small forward, or a really, really small ball power forward at best. But he was your center at this point. A 50-year-old was your power forward / center at different moments. Like there was a very, very, it was disappointing to see them go out in 5 with all the steam they had, but at the same time, it feels like it could have been very, very easily avoidable. And Luka needs to work on his defense just a little bit. You don't have to be elite. You don't have to be good. You just can't be the one they attack. You can't be, for lack of better terms, a parking cone. You can't be the one that they absolutely attack. I just need you to put your hands out and move your feet. That's all we really need at this point because who on the Timberwolves do you attack? You can't attack Jaden Ivey. He's an awesome defender. You can't attack Anthony Edwards. He's probably going to make second team all defense at some point in his career. You can kind of attack Rudy Gobert, I guess, in theory, in space, which is what they did. But at the same time, if you can't get him in space, or if you're not going to hit those outside shots at a high clip, that's a little bit different there. Naz Reid can move a little bit. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's an outstanding defender. You can't really attack anybody on there. You just kind of have to be better than them. You can't just attack a cone. So I think that's a huge reason they were able to advance. And I hate to say it, but I think we need to start talking about Anthony Edwards, even not just in that top 10 player category. We might have to talk about it in that top 5 player category. I think he's done quite a bit to do that despite maybe a limited amount of hardware. But when you just from the eye test alone, it's like that guy might have been better than Luka, honestly. He might be better than Luka at this point.
He might be. I will agree with that. And by the way, to your point to the center, not only was Rui at times the center, Dorian Finney-Smith was listed in Game 6 or Game 5 as the starting center. They did not play a single player on their roster who was listed as a center, by the way. Jared Vanderbilt was the tallest player they played, and he's still a power forward listed, and he only played 19 minutes. They do have Jackson Hayes listed as a power forward, but beyond that, you have Alex Len, didn't play any time. You have Kola Oko is a listed center, and then you got a guy you got from the Pelicans in the season as a listed center. Neither of those 3 played at all. You didn't play Jackson Hayes, who can jump out of a building still, despite everything. So yeah, stubbornness seems like a very nice way of putting that coaching decision by JJ Redick. And look, I think it's fair to say to Luka, like, it's not the end of the world that we're asking you to guard better. We said the same thing about Steph. And then Steph learns how to guard more than a traffic cone, and he becomes a little bit more like one of those like a cone drills you run through in football to hold on to the ball, where it's like it slaps you a little bit, it sucks, you hold on to the ball, but like it still sucks to run through. Like that was Steph more so than a regular traffic cone. He took the traffic cones and put 1,000 of them around him, and and it's worked for Steph. They started winning championships immediately. Luka does that. It changes the game, and especially if LeBron's going to keep playing at 55 years old. I think you need to have that because LeBron's still not the guy he once was, where he can turn it on defensively, even though he still thinks he can. He's not necessarily able to turn it on as quickly defensively. This is the moment where they hated losing Anthony Davis. Honestly, there's very few series that they could have been matched up against any team and hated losing Anthony Davis in favor of Luka Doncic. This was the one series where Luka wasn't helpful for their cause, for sure.
I will say too, obviously Luka has all the accomplishments, everything like that. We're not taking that away from him. Like hierarchy, he's like a top 50-ish player all time right now. You can even make a case for top 40. But right now, when we kind of look at the landscape of the game, you can make a case you can't put him in top 5 right now with just how big of a liability that's been
this season. Yeah,
because we already know the Jokic, Giannis, SGA; those are pretty unanimous. I'm making the case for Anthony Edwards. I'm making the case for Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum, has he can give you buckets when he's not shooting threes at such an fadeaway contested threes at an insane clip, which annoys me, and I blame Joe Mazzulla for that. Because Jason Tatum used to have a bag until the offense switched to threes and dunks only. Now it's just painful to watch. But when Jason's on his game, outstanding offensively, gives you 9 rebounds a game as your small forward / power forward. And also, he plays really good defense for the most part, too. So I'm going to and he's got a lot of similar accolades. He's got a ton of first-team All-NBAs, too. Can't forget, he's been a regular on those first teams the last few years. He's got a title under his belt. No, not an MVP, unfortunately. That's what kind of hurts him. I think if he had the MVP, this would be unanimous. But I'm going to make the case Luka is outside of the top 5 right now. Just right now. We're not including full career accolades.
I'll be honest. He could be out of the top 10.
Okay,
if you think about it.
I won't go that far. He still can get
Donovan Mitchell. Better.
I love me some Donovan, but I'm going to still put Luka ahead of him for now.
Right. To this season, Donovan Mitchell has been better offensively and defensively than maybe not offensively alone, but when you combine the two, he's been better. Jalen Brunson has been better than Luka. Cat has been better than Luka, not by much defensively, but he is better than Luka defensively.
He's been zestier, that's for sure.
Cade Cunningham has been better than Luka offensively and defensively. And by the way, there's still that guy named Steph out there.
I'm not ready to go that far. That's me.
I'm not ready to go that far. There are five cases you can make that could slide Luka currently today in this season alone, not looking at his career, just this season alone. Please, dear God, whoever's clipping this, don't clip the part out. But this season alone, I think you could have the case that Luka is not a top 10 player in the league. And that's a wild thought, but it's a complete possibility.
I would stick with he might just miss the top 5. Or let us know down in the comments below. Are we both blasphemous? Is only one of us blasphemous, or are we overrating him still? Is somebody going to actually make that case? But it's a very interesting scenario because there's also the question of there's contract negotiations coming up. And if you're the Lakers, well, you kind of have to resign him at this point. So it's Luka, what do you want? Which, you know what, fine. I mean, that man gave you 38 points in the first half against the Mavericks. So you know what, worth it. But we're going to wrap things up now from talking about teams that aren't playing anymore. Now we're going to talk about teams that are actually playing a little bit. Now that they got out of the way. And we're going to start with round 2. Starting off with a bang is the road teams went 4-0 in game 1's in. So, just how the Doc Dora, the home court advantage, exactly right. But the Knicks, a thriller against in the Garden in game 1, coming back down 20 in the third quarter. The Pacers kind of running ramp, being able to take care of business with the Cavs, missing Darius Garland, Evan Mobley getting injured, DeAndre Hunter getting injured. We also had the Warriors losing Steph in the first half, but being able to control the game for the most part, against the Timberwolves. And of course, how could we forget Jokic putting on an absolute masterpiece in that comeback win over the Thunder, capped off by yet another Aaron Gordon near buzzer beater. This time for 3 after Chet Holmgren surprisingly misses 2 free throws, honestly. I'm not surprised he missed 1, but the fact that he missed both of them, youth encapsulated in that one completely, and miserable coaching decisions to foul while you're up 3 with 12 seconds left without taking any time off the clock. Like, you have the best defense in the league comfortably. Just play defense at that point. Like, all right, if they get an open 3, the game is tied and you get the final shot and you have the MVP. You are the elite defense. I still don't get that, but without getting too individual, because we're going to talk more about that game in just a bit, but what an insane showcase out of the gate too. Round 1 is always sometimes known as the tweener round. There's like 1 or 2 good series because there's some mismatches. Round 2, bangers as far as the eye can see. Not one miss so far.
Yeah. You know what bothers me? This is just something that we're going to go like this grinds my gears. Shout out Family Guy and Seth MacFarlane for that phrase. But something that grinds my gears is the fact they're calling the semifinals round 3 because they're counting the play-ins. No, this is round 2. It's the semifinals. Let's not get carried away. Conference finals are round 3. Come on, NBA. What are we doing? I heard it tonight when they started the Knicks Celtics games before we went live. And yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me, guys. Round 3? Really? This is not round 3. Round 2. Anyways, I just had to get that off my chest.
Rounds only qualify as things that require 4 games to advance. That's how we're going. Until they change it to hopefully from 7 games to round 1. But that's another story.
But yeah, no, this has been a fun top to bottom. Obviously, outside of that Pacers-Cavs game, I think the rest of this has been a pretty fun series. That at least game 1 for the Pacers-Cavs. Obviously, game 2 was a different story. But these series in general have been the most exciting I've been. I was on a special visit for my future team, potentially, for a couple future teams. And I was watching with a bunch of guys that are, New York diehards, Celtic diehards. And I was watching the game with him, and I got to say, I thought a fight was going to break out. I thought there was going to be a fight in this random bar in upper Pennsylvania. Like, it was wild. It was a wild experience. And then, by the way, they weren't done. You still had the Nuggets game to go, and the way that ended was absolutely wild as well. So this this semifinal start has been amazing. 2 out of the first 4 games, absolutely impressive comebacks. All of them away teams. Like, that's an unheard of stat as well. I feel like I don't know how many times that's happened. But yeah, it has been a fun start to everything.
Absolutely incredible start. And I also want to put out my complaint of that they let round 2 start before round 1 concluded when they had the Celtics Pacers game, or not the Pacers Cavaliers game 1 start before Rockets Warriors game 7. Just flip those 2 around. I don't care about your time zone. It was a Sunday. I don't care. Make it happen. Don't start, because now it's all shaken up, because we're talking about the Cavs and the Pacers who have wrapped up 2 games already. And everyone else is in game 2 right now, basically, or about to at the time of this recording or afterwards. But let's talk about that game 2, because with no Darius Garland, an all-star caliber guard, without Defensive Player of the Year, Evan Mobley, without DeAndre Hunter starting small forward, I'm going to say without Ty Jerome, because you can't go 1 of 14 as you finally get the start with all that trash. You talk 6th man of the year, you can't go 1 of 14. Donovan Mitchell put on one hell of a performance with a near 50-point double-double, getting them right to the brink of it before Tyrese Halliburton did Tyrese Halliburton things. And, of course, we can't forget about the Joker with his casual 40, 20, and 6 on top of it. So we had 2 absolutely super performances from superstar players. I'm going to start with with Spiders really quick, because we just talked a little bit about that. We gave the details. I know we had a little bit of a rough down the stretch, some of the turnovers, decision-making, et cetera. Bound to happen when you run out of gas, I felt like I was watching the 2007 Cavaliers, ironically enough, where it was like one guy putting the entire team on his back. If you're Ty Jerome, you cannot, under any circumstances, go 1 of 14 in this scenario. You are the second best player on the team at that point with 6. I know technically Jared Allen starter, et cetera, who had a great game, but you cannot go 1 of 14, especially when your job is get bucket off bench. Okay, you need to get bucket in starting lineup. Anything, go get fouled, go do something, go headbutt somebody. I don't know, like go fight Tyrese Halliburton, or before he gets a chance to make that 3-point shot, which, by the way, Tyrese Halliburton is like 10 of 11 in fourth quarter go-ahead shots or something asinine like that. Like, don't let him touch the ball in that situation. Don't let him miss his own free throw and get his rebound. Can't have that happen under any circumstances. But incredible performance by Spida Mitchell, who I think asserted himself in that top 10 conversation as well. I know his numbers weren't as great this year because it's kind of a team collective. Like, he took a little bit less shots or was a little bit less effective. However, it was in the greater 65-plus win team. He's solidified in that top 10, I'd say. Don't let Tyrese Halliburton shoot those shots. And Jokic continues to prove why he's the best player in the game right now. When everything else is failing at this point, he's like, you know what? I got this. 40, 22, including that get 1 for 5 from 3, hits a clutch 3 moving down the stretch. What incredible performances by 2 superstar players, doing 2 top 10 players, and no one will tell me otherwise about Spida Mitchell being a top 10 player. That is solidified.
I just said this much shortly. A short time
ago. You were putting him and Luka up there. That's all I'm saying. I'm ready. I'm drawing a line there, but
it is what it is. You know what? I agree though that this game was an absolutely impressive. Like, the Cavs game was an absolutely impressive showing for Spida for the Dawn. Still need to get a pair of those Spider-Man, the glow in the dark black and green Dawn 4s, Dawn 3s. By the way, I don't care. I need all of them. Yeah, just give me all of them. But no, I loved seeing Donovan Mitchell go off like that, but he needed some support. Max Strus being the second leading scorer is a problem. Jared Allen giving you a double-double, and those 2 being the only other 2 guys above 20 points. And then, by the way, there's only one other player in double digits, which was Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill. Anybody remember that guy? Yeah. Don't blame me if you don't remember him. It was a bad showing across the board. You mentioned Ty Jerome, Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro, only shot 50%. Craig Porter only had 1 shot go in. Javonte Green, 0 points in 10 minutes played. Craig Porter in 4 minutes got 2 points. Like, give you 1 bucket, Javonte, you guys win. And by the way, every time I see Tyrese Halliburton score, period, and especially score in the 4th in a go-ahead shot, it hurts deep down. As the Kings fan that I am, I cried a little bit seeing that shot go in, because it was just like, no, go figure. It's a heartbreaking way for Don to lose in that one. for the Cavs to lose on that one. You hate to see it because it was an impressive performance top to bottom. But on the flip side of things, the Nuggets, yet again, somehow are saved by Aaron Gordon fanatics. I don't get it. Aaron Gordon continues to be that guy. Layups, threes. I'm glad he got out of Orlando because he was really floundering there. And this really gave him a resurgence to his career. He is that number 2 option for Jokic that they've been looking for when Jamal Murray is not there. And Jamal Murray gave you 21 points and 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Aaron Gordon gave you 22 points, 14 rebounds. So you talk about, 2 guys helping out, and then they had a bunch of guys that are double digits. But no, I think this is one, man. I love seeing Jokic's 42 points in that game. That was impressive. Another 42-22, like a 40-20 game. Does anybody keeping track of these? Because I think we're at the point where he's breaking records with how many 40-20 games he has. It's crazy to see, but the playoffs are where, the big players come to play and they come to show out. And having Donovan Mitchell, who is a guy who has been very underrated his entire career, so much so he has been beaten by a Rookie of the Year candidate who wasn't even a rookie. Stand by, Donovan Mitchell should have won Rookie of the Year that year. And then, Jokic, the guy that was drafted in a Taco Bell commercial, that's, now what, 3-time MVP? So yeah, hard to say that guy's not at least getting his love now, but it's an impressive thing to see, and it's kind of almost more impressive for the Nuggets that Jokic is doing what he's doing, and the Nuggets are performing still, considering they fired their coach right near the end of the season. Like, that's a wild thing to do, and here you are in the semifinals, up 1 game. Jokic is playing well. Aaron Gordon, you're getting the best out of Aaron Gordon right now. You're getting the best out of Christian Braun, the best out of Russell Westbrook. It's like, you couldn't really ask for much other than Jamal Murray to step up and to shut down this young stud Thunder team. That's also impressive too. So yeah, it's been a great impressive from Joker, from Spida, but it's honestly, man, it's like all over the place in this first couple games so far.
I would say with the Nuggets, you see that as a championship level team that I think it literally just needed the shake up with coaching. We talk about sometimes you need X's and O's, sometimes you need Joes and Schmoes. I think Michael Malone's classic OG coaching style with the Joes and Schmoes, I'm guessing it wore thin, where Adelman looks like a little bit more X's and O's is kind of the feel for it. I think that's kind of what the team needed. That's almost kicked them into a second gear on top of things. But you see, Aaron Gordon was there for the championship. Jamal Murray was outstanding during that run. Michael Porter Jr., Russell Westbrook is an MVP and multiple time first. He's a future Hall of Famer. Like they got Christian Braun's won in college and in the NBA now. Like they have the team for it. They just needed the right catalyst, and I think that's what they found. One more thing just to emphasize how great an underrated Spider Mitchell has been. He has the most games by an active player with 50-point games in the NBA playoffs, having done it 3 times. And he would have had 4, basically, if he just had one more bucket in that last game, because I think he finished at, 48, 49. Yep. So he leads the NBA with 3. The next up is Jason Tatum with 2, Jamal Murray with 2, and Dame Lillard with 2. So that's absolutely incredible. So he really could have double the next closest one. He's a bucket away. And the most of those were during his time in Utah. You actually look back on it. Him and Jamal Murray each had a 50-point game, if I'm not mistaken, head-to-head against each other during the first round of that bubble series. Like, absolutely incredible playoff performance. When they needed him, he came up 98% of the way there. He just needed Ty Jerome to make a layup. Just one layup, and I think they'd have been fine. Or somebody to box out. That's all we need is to box out. Not let Tyrese Halliburton dance, who, by the way, he's not overrated. I think we can get that clear and out of the gate now. No more. I don't want to hear overrate that anymore. We get it. The point is made. That man's a top 15 player. He's not 15. 14 maybe, but like I'd say he's
maybe top 20. Top 20 I'm comfortable with. Top 15 feels a little close. I think you can argue his case for a top 15, just like I could argue a case for Luka to not be in the top 10.
No, but now we're getting off the rails now. But either way, look at the Cavs might be in trouble if they can't get Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, or DeAndre Hunter back. I didn't even say all of them. I just need one of them back at this point. They might be in trouble, honestly. This might be a gentleman's sweep if they can't get everybody rallied. That's very, very concerning because you can see how important that starting lineup was. And now you're missing 60% of your starting lineup. That's just absolutely insane. Like, I can't even. It stinks because now they're going to be called the 2015 Hawks, and we didn't even get a chance to see them in the playoffs because they haven't been healthy since game 2 in the first round because Garland's been out since then. This point. But one thing I have to talk about is if they are in trouble, there's the conference finals coming up as well. We have all the things going on. All of them look like they're going to be competitive series outside of that one. So, Kelcey, we're going to start with you. who's getting to the conference finals out of these ones. We're going to make a very early prediction with we got at least one game of resume on every single team right now. It's with kind of 2 on the brink. So who's going to the conference finals? Who do you think's getting out of here?
Well, right now in the East, it looks like we're going to get a Pacers. God, I really don't want to say the Celtics, but we're going to say the Celtics. Pacers, Celtics, Eastern Conference Finals. In the West, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's going to be the Nuggets. And I'm going to say the Timberwolves can figure it out. With Game 2 coming up, I'm intrigued to see what Game 2 looks like. That's going to decide a lot for me. But I think if Anthony Edwards and squad can figure it out, I mean, look, Rudy Gobert is Rudy Gobert. I'm not expecting any more big games from him. But you know what? I at least expect him to not be awful. But Ant is a great player. And I think the Warriors, while they're a team that's great, that continues to build around the draft and build with it from within, which is an incredible thing. Outside of bringing KD in at any point in time, this team has always been built in the draft. And in today's NBA, that's kind of a shock. But yeah, I think the Warriors, while they have a great chance, I think they're not going to make it out of this semifinal matchup with the Timberwolves. So yeah, I'm going to give you the Nuggets and Timberwolves versus in the West. And then, like I said, in the East, you got Pacers facing off against the Celtics.
I want to say that the Cavs could turn it around. I mean, down 2-0, you just need, like, let's say you get DeAndre Hunter back next game. I think that'll make a difference. Or if you could just get Evan Mobley or Darius Garland, just get one of them back. I think that can make a huge difference. Missing all 3 of them is what I think kills you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like Evan Mobley's coming back in Game 3. I don't know about Garland. That's a lot to overcome. And I think that loss could be that could be deflating. So I'm going to agree with you. It feels like it'll be the Pacers. And if nothing else, even if those guys do come back, they got a 2-game lead on you. That's really hard to overcome. So I'm going to take the Pacers as well. Shout out to the Knicks. They got that monkey off their back in Game 1 of not having beaten the Celtics, the Cavaliers, or the Thunder 0-10 against them this season. They're now 1-10, so they got that monkey off their back. I don't know if they're going to pick up 3 more wins, though. The game's going on right now as we are recording, and, well, they did actually start a really nice comeback after being down 20 in the third quarter yet again, so it's at least a little bit closer. So maybe my mind has changed by the time this goes up, but we're sticking with the Celtics there as well. In the West, I'm going to say the Thunder figure it out. So I think Jokic gave you 40 and 20, and you survived by Chet Holmgren missing 2 free throws. They're a young team, and I think they'll still figure it out. They still swarmed. Their defense is still incredible. They can swarm at any given moment. SGA is still incredible. He had a great game. So I'm going to say the Thunder figure it out, but it's going to be a lot harder than they'd like. I would have picked the Warriors if Steph Curry wasn't injured. With that muscle strain, best case scenario is he's back for Game 5 or 6, maybe. I don't trust that you can get to in that position unless you get the absolute epitome of playoff Jimmy. Maybe you get the best version of him. Maybe you get the best version of not just trying to fight people and get technical fouls every play, Draymond Green. Maybe Anthony Edwards falls apart, but there's a lot of variables in their favor. So I'm going to take the Timberwolves there as well. So we'll get Timberwolves, Thunder. Then we're going to get the Pacers taking on the Celtics. So I think we're in kind of the same boat, and I think we'll find a way to get Celtics versus Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves will find a way to sneak past too. So there's going to be my surprise is Timberwolves upsetting the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that series against the Nuggets is going to take a lot out of them.
Oh, wow. Wow.
We're gonna throw a little bit of fun in there. I think
so feels like to the finals then, huh? You're already spoiling your finals pick.
Well, I mean, it could be completely ruined if the Timberwolves lose tomorrow night. So I mean, it could be completely ruined. But we're throwing it out there for fun. I think they have a really good shot if they can kind of rally cap a little bit. I did not like what I saw from Game 1 against the Warriors. After Steph went out, you still couldn't quite in the first half. You couldn't quite get over that hump. Anthony Edwards he's been very, very good, but also sometimes the shooting percentages are absolutely terrible. He'll have like those 9 of 25 games, which worry me. But I think they could find a way. I think that if they can get there, but we'll have to wait and see. And for all we know, the Thunder could win 4 in a row, and they're not even tired. I'm presuming that Nugget series takes a chunk of flesh out in his 7 games, and Jokic just beats the you-know-what out of Chet Holmgren's very, very skinny shoulders and Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, that's a whole lot to deal with Jokic running into you for 7 straight games. But we'll wait and see for sure. Be sure to let us know down in the comments who you all think is heading to the conference finals and what you think about the NBA playoffs so far, which has gotten a little bit of heat for not being that fun to watch the last couple of years. But this year, it's definitely cranked it up to 11, I'd say for sure. But it's going to slide us right on into Kelcey's usual favorite part of every show. And that is, of course, crunch time. And for crunch time, we don't got a whole lot for you today, but what we did want to point out is to do the housekeeping things of, be sure to send us your courting Kelcey videos. If you want him to join your NFL fandom, send them our way. You got up to 2 minutes. You can make your elevator pitch. Just make sure it is PG rated. See why he should join your team because, he's still a free agent. There are still plenty of teams out there. The Cowboys are trying to get him back, but you can save him from going back to that abusive ex that is known as the Dallas Cowboys. And, of course, be sure if you did not see all of our draft coverage, head to our YouTube page. We have all of our breakdowns for all 32 teams where we graded every single one of them and let you know what our thoughts were. Some people did not like them. Some people did like them. Let us know what you think in those below. But you'll catch every single team broken down by division on our YouTube page.
Yeah, no, and look, I got one thing. For this, DJ. It's coming back to the Cavs, circling back to the Cavs. I need to go because Chandler Parsons' comments just came across my screen. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but Chandler Parsons criticizing Darius Garland and for not even being willing to play in game 2 or 3 at this point in time. Depending on game 3, but game 1 and 2 of this series. He was talking about he needs to play at least 5 minutes and then check himself out to give his team that morale boost. I got to ask, considering Jared Allen was literally ripped apart last year for not playing with a rib injury while up against the Magic, do you agree with what Chandler Parsons is saying here? Do you think that Darius Garland needs to play at least 5 minutes and then check himself out in game 3?
It depends how bad his injury is. If I would say no, if it's at what point do you just turn into a parking cone and get attacked to give up 10 points in 5 minutes? Then you have to be able to. He's not a big guy in the first place. He already has a tough time defending. He's 6'1". He's not exactly a lockdown defender as it is. Let's say he's having trouble driving and moving, then he's just going to be a spot up shooter as your point guard who has to try and guard Tyrese Halliburton, has to try and guard Aaron Nemrod, who's been electric these playoffs. How does that benefit if he can't move? If he's 85 to 90%, then okay, I see the idea of it, of maybe get in there, get some minutes. But what's the point in that case? What's it a morale boost if you go out there and get toasted in 5 minutes? It's a morale boost if you go out there and you ball or you're solid and you look good. But the issue is the guy who's sitting in for him, who's the 6th man of the year, shot less than 20% total. I'm pretty sure he shot 8%. If I have never had a math test with that kind of percentage on it. My goodness, that you can't go 1 for 14, especially when your entire joking trash talk is I'd start for your team, saying that to Orlando during their series. And then when you get a chance to start, this happens. So That's my bigger issue with it, honestly. If he's 85%, 90%, then okay, I get the idea. But it's pointless to play if you're going to get toasted. If you're gutting it out and you're useful, that's one thing. If you gut it out and you're a detriment, then it's we wasted 5. That was a waste of time.
Yeah. I also don't like it coming from Chandler Parsons. Look, the guy was ravaged with injuries, but hearing him say that also reinforces what I thought when he played, which is, hey, take some time off to recover and then come back and get healthy. Because he needed, he needed surgery since he came out of Florida. He had needed some sort of something on his body to be surgically repaired. It almost feels like his entire career. And he didn't play long in the league, despite getting paid really, really well by the Rockets and not playing more than a single season on that contract. It's absolutely crazy. So, yeah, I have a hard time listening to Chandler Parsons about it, but I just, it came across my screen and I was like, you know what? I need to get somebody else's opinion before I go off on this one because this is weird.
I get it. It's a toe injury, and on paper, it's come on, it's a toe. Don't forget, a toe retired Patrick Willis. Somebody tell him that he's a weenie for letting a toe retire. I dare you.
I'm not telling Patrick Willis he's Weenie Hut Jr. Forget that.
Exactly. So I get it in theory, and I know a lot of people are calling him out too. Chandler Parsons isn't the only one. He's just probably the loud one about it. I saw.
Well, his show is literally back to back from the Cavs game on FanDuel Sportsnet. So. Shout out FanDuel Sportsnet, but
I feel like if he's 80%, he has to play in game 3 though. I think game 3 they need you because your back is against the wall. If you can semi move and you're not useless, you have to be out there. I think in this case maybe I don't want to do that 5 minutes thing. That's a waste of time. You need to be either good to go or not good to go. But they need somebody back. They need somebody to help Donovan Mitchell, who chances of him giving you 50 and 10 again. Well, for Donovan Mitchell, higher than most players of the NBA based on his amount of 50-point playoff performances. However, I'm not counting on that. And what the issue is, you got to stop Tyrese Halliburton and Aaron Nemrod. And if Darius Garland is broken, you're not going to get that either. So we should be yelling at Ty Jerome. I'm going to stand by that. We should be yelling at him before we yell at Darius Garland. But I will agree with half of the premise of if he's even remotely okay where he can kind of practice a little bit, place in some way, shape, or form game 3 because they need you badly. Like Evan Mobley, there was rumor he can't put weight on that leg. So if that's the case, then don't put him out there. I don't think no. DeAndre Hunter, I don't know the extent of his off the top of my head, but you will have to play banged up, that's for sure at this point. But if you're injured as opposed to hurt, that's where the difference is. If you're hurt, we're going to need you out there. If you're truly injured and you can't contribute, you're a negative asset on the court, what's the point? So I'll agree with the premise, but not necessarily the execution, I suppose.
Oh, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I don't love it either way, one way or the other. But yeah, yeah, that one was just wild to me that Chandler Parsons is the guy saying it. Just
the Cleveland curse finds a way this time, and his injury is coming back to spite them. So that's what we have for the High Low Sports Podcast today. We appreciate y'all so much for joining us. Be sure to check us out on all of our socials linked in the description as well. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us, and we'll see you all again next time.